Hey there, tech fans. Today I've got the brand new Orei HD-EX330-KVM HDMI extension kit with KVM functionality. This product makes it incredibly easy for you to share all of your HDMI media content from one location with a second remote location up to 330 feet away over a single Cat 6 or Cat 7 LAN cable. The product fully supports high-definition media content and is both HDMI 1.3 as well as HDCP 1.4 compliant, which means it's plug-and-play compatible with all of your modern media gear. The transmitter module provides local loopback functionality at the primary site, which allows you to continue to enjoy the content here while you're simultaneously sharing it with your remote location. And the receiver unit provides two full-size USB ports that you can use to plug in a keyboard or mouse at that remote location to remotely control the computer at the primary location. And finally, the entire solution utilizes the latest in power over cable technology, which means a single power supply plugged in at the primary side or the remote side provides all the power you'll need for the entire solution because the power required for the other module is sent over that same LAN connection. Now, as part of this overview, I'd like to start with a quick unboxing just to show you everything that's included with the kit, and then I'll take a closer look at the transmitter module and the receiver module, and I'll explain the connections and indicators so you understand how to use the kit, and then I'll come back one more time and point out a few things that really make this kit pretty special that you can use to compare it to other HDMI extension kits you may be considering. So let's get started with the unboxing. When you first pop open the box, you'll find a transmitter module and a receiver module. You'll find a single 12-volt 1-amp DC power supply. You can plug this into any standard wall outlet, and the other end of the cable has a barrel connection on it with a locking collar, and you can plug this into the transmitter or the receiver module because of that power over cable technology, and that's all you'll need to operate the entire solution. You'll also find a USB connection cable for the transmitter that connects to a computer if you decide to take advantage of that KVM functionality. And finally, a full instruction manual is also included that lists connection diagrams, specifications, and a lot of other really good information about the solution that you'll need to understand in order to use it correctly. Now, if you stay tuned next, I'll take a closer look at both modules, and then I'll come back and point out a few things that I really like about this particular product. Inside the kit, you'll find a transmitter module and a receiver module. The transmitter is located wherever your media content is that you'd like to share with your remote location. And the receiver module is located at the secondary site where you'd like to enjoy that content. Both of these feature full metal enclosures, which make them really durable and helps to minimize outside interference from causing any issues with the sensitive electronics inside. Let's start with the transmitter module first. On either side of the cabinet, you'll find these ventilation slots that are really designed to let any heat that develops during operation escape and keep the electronics inside at a comfortable temperature. On the one end of the transmitter module, you'll find two full-size HDMI ports. One is labeled input, one is labeled output. The input port connects to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your remote location, and always use a high-quality cable for that connection. The transmitter provides local loopback functionality, which essentially allows you to enjoy the content at the primary side while you're simultaneously sharing it with the remote location. And to take advantage of that feature, you can connect the cable from this output HDMI port to a local monitor to enjoy that content. On the other end of the module, starting on the left, you'll find a LAN port. That's where one end of the Cat 6 or Cat 7 cable plugs in between the transmitter and the receiver. To the right of that is a USB port. You can use the included cable to connect the module to a local computer if you'd like to take advantage of the KVM functionality. And to the right of that is a DC input port, and that's used with the power supply. You can simply plug that power supply into any standard wall outlet. The other end of the cable from that power supply has a barrel connection on it with a locking collar, and you can plug it in right there and finger tighten the collar to make sure it doesn't pop out. Now, one other feature this product provides is called power over cable, which means that single power supply can be plugged in here at the transmitter or at the receiver end, and the power required for the other module is sent across that LAN cable. Now we'll take a look at the receiver. Again, very similar, full metal enclosure, ventilation slots on both sides. On the one end, you'll find a single HDMI port labeled output. This connects to a monitor at the remote location you'd like to use to enjoy the content from the primary side. On the other end of the module, you'll find another LAN port, and that's where the other end of that Cat 6 or Cat 7 cable plugs in from the transmitter module. To the right of that are two full-sized USB ports. These can be used for plugging in a keyboard and a mouse if you'd like to take advantage of that KVM functionality. Once you plug those in and you have the transmitter connected to a computer, you can actually remotely control the computer from this secondary location. And finally, to the right of that is another DC input port. And again, you can plug that power supply in here or plug it in the transmitter. And once you do, the power required for the other module, again, is sent over that LAN connection between them. And that's pretty much it for the two modules. I hope that closer look was helpful. Now here are a few really important things to keep in mind when you're comparing the Orei HD-EX330-KVM with other HDMI extension kits you may be considering. The first thing has to do with the distance that any HDMI kit supports. This particular product provides 330 feet of distance between your primary location and your remote location, which gives you a lot of flexibility on where you locate that secondary site. Another big difference is the fact that this kit provides KVM functionality, which means you can connect the keyboard and mouse up at the remote location and remotely control a computer at the primary location. It also utilizes the very latest in power over cable technology, which means that single power supply plugged in at the primary or secondary locations is all you're going to need to operate the entire solution, so that greatly simplifies your wiring. And finally, this kit is both HDMI 1.3 and HDCP 1.4 compliant. And the reason that's important is because if you're transmitting HD content, knowing you're on one of the latest versions of HDMI means you can immediately take advantage of all the new features that have been introduced into that standard. And the HDCP certification is equally important because that controls copy protection. So knowing you're on one of the latest versions of HDCP means you can play a wider variety of different file types through the solution. Everything you need to get started is included with the kit, and with a few simple connections, you can be up and running in no time. So hopefully you found this review helpful, and thanks an awful lot for watching.